the speaker, John Garrett. And John Garrett is the publisher of Community Impact newspaper. After growing up in Austin, John Garrett graduated from Sam Houston State University and began his newspaper career at the Houston Chronicle. He became the advertising director of the Austin Business Journal in 2002 and helped turn the publication into one of the top performing American city business journals. While at the Austin Business Journal, John determined that he would create a hyperlocal monthly publication with free distribution to all that would be delivered throughout the mail. In September 2005, Community Impact newspaper launched in Round Rock and Pflugerville. Currently, there are 12 regional editions of Community Impact newspaper, and it's mailed to more than 740,000 households and businesses in 12 markets in Austin, Houston, and Dallas metro areas. More Texans get a Community Impact newspaper delivered to them than any other publication in the state. And I want to say, yay, now we're in with Round Rock and Pflugerville. I really like that. John and his wife Jennifer have 3 daughters and live in Round Rock. They are active members of Hill Country Bible Church, Pflugerville. John serves as chair-elect for the Round Rock Chamber of Commerce and serves on several community boards and nonprofit organizations. John was named the 2010 Concordia University Excellence in Leadership honoree and was honored as the 2010 Sam Houston State University Distinguished Young Alumni.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey guys, good morning, Hutto. Good morning. Hope y'all are doing well, and I'm so glad to be here and honored to be here. When I heard the comment about the Round Rock Chamber, I was asking that maybe they leave that part out, that I'm on the ribbon cutting committee. No, just kidding. No, that's awesome, and I'm really we're now like in 30 plus cities around the state, and blessed to do that. But this is an incredible turnout. I mean, from everywhere. We're up in Colleyville in Dallas. We're down in Buda and Kyle. We're in Houston area. We're Tomball, Magnolia, the Woodlands, and this is an awesome turnout. And hats off to Scott and for putting this, and his staff put this together. It's very rare you find a city like this with this many leaders that come together at 7:30 in the morning, especially to hear a newspaper guy talking. That's not why you're here. And I hope I can bring some value to you this morning and give you a little bit of explanation of some of the changes that we made. But I really want to thank Scott for letting me come. And Scott, when we first started the paper, he was one. There's no question why we have such an incredible. This is so first class here. It's because Scott has always been first class. And when I started in Round Rock, he and a couple of folks brought me in and helped me get connected to that community. And I'm very grateful for that. I thank you for that. But Hutto actually has a rich history with me a little bit. I'm going to share some things with you about Hutto that I probably shouldn't, and I'm glad my wife's not here because she would be really embarrassed. But Hutto played a role even as I was growing up. And in fact, I tried to find the most embarrassing photo of me I could. And one of my friends, allegedly friends on Facebook, posted this picture of me. This is me in the center there. I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's the awkward phase. I grew up in North Austin, but I went to Pflugerville High School. That was before all the schools were built, And Hutto actually, I was on the golf team, which don't think that means I was good. I was not very good, but no one else, I just couldn't play basketball very well. So I was on the golf team, and we'd always go to Taylor to play this before, Blackhawk was built, or certainly way before Star Ranch, even Forest Creek. And we'd come through, 685, and there was a street dance, here, the Debonaires, People's Choice, those of you all remember that. And so this guy would, come try to pick up the Hutto women, and I don't know why, I didn't have much luck. But one time I met, this girl, and she talked to me so like I was in love, and here in Hutto, and we went to Snuffy's to eat, and it was a very short lived deal, because back then, I guess my parents didn't have, I don't know like how it worked, but it was like 45 cents a minute to call Hutto. Back then, from Austin. And so it was a short-lived romance, a very expensive one. But actually, the paper itself has some roots too, that I'll talk about in a minute. I thought what I'd do is give a little bit of a background of the paper and a little bit of my background, and also some of the switch information that was alluded to earlier about why we made some of the switches that we did to the distribution area. But a little bit about my background. Grew up in Pflugerville, as I said. I'm really upset myself because I didn't have a Sam Houston State photo here. I'm like the biggest bear. Any other Bearcats here? Oh, look at that. That's right. Those that protect us, a lot of them came from very, very smart people. I went to Sam Houston, and they say in the business that I studied radio television. Actually, if y'all remember, Kick 92 FM in Round Rock, I got my start there. And They say if you're in radio, it's because you have a face for it. You know, they say you have a face for radio. Well, I apparently had a face for radio, but a voice for newspapers. I guess I didn't radio. So I go and I work at the Houston Chronicle, and the Houston Chronicle those days were really the glory days. Not so much in terms of what I believe in editorial excellence, but certainly in terms of operational excellence. It was late 90s, and it was they were making a lot of money. And in fact, some people say that Craigslist killed newspapers. The truth is that in Houston, Craigslist, I think it's a private company, but that was reported maybe they have $300 million of annual sales, nationwide. In Houston, at the Houston Chronicle alone, we had that much money in Houston in just the classified department. So it wasn't Craigslist that really killed it. It's amazing that how much money just kind of evaporated from newspapers, just like literally over a course of 5 years. But at the time, we didn't even see it coming. But I was a young guy. I was 22, 23 years old, and I had a guy that, for whatever reason, put me under his wings. And I'm very thankful for him, and I learned so much there. I was always on the advertising business side, but I got kind of into the operations circulation side because I worked with the large grocers, and I learned a lot about distribution. But what I learned the most about distribution, mail, is the commitment to quality of distribution. I was 24 years old, and I was in this room with these guys that have been in the business forever, and I get to hear them talk about things. At the time, the Houston Chronicle was mailing 1.2 million pieces a week, out, the circulars you would get in the mail, they'd mail them out. But we would sit around this table with all these high-paid executives, and we might have 5 missed deliveries of 1.2 million, and they wanted to know every single one of them. Why was this one missed? Carrier delivery error, machine delivery error. Like the commitment to quality there, that's what I learned the most at the Houston Chronicle. I certainly learned a lot about the business. But I was very grateful for that time there, and certainly learned a lot. But my wife's also from Pflugerville, and we wanted to come back home, and so I got a great job at the Austin Business Journal, and I was advertising director there. And it was right after the bust, the tech bust. So it's not much of a bust, but in Austin we've been very blessed. But for the Business Journal, it's a big bust. A lot of the money that we got was from the large technology companies. Certainly, lawyers were making a lot of money back then, and they were advertising a lot. And when I came in, I was 26 years old, and it was my first management job. I just looked around. I was like, man, I got to do something about this team. And so, I was really lucky, and I was able to bring on some really great people on board with us. But at the time, when I was at the Business Journal, I was there for about 3 years, and we really had a lot of success. But I was never really allowed to get into the editorial side. I had some ideas. In fact, at the time, if you guys remember what this looked like, this is 35 and 45 when they were building those toll roads. And at this time, my wife and I actually lived in Round Rock, right off Gavin School Road. And I was driving downtown Austin every day, and I would get on, Lewis Henna, and you remember, like they tore it up, built it, tore it up, and I was like, what are they doing with this road? And the only news that we would get at the time was, the Statesman would write about how toll roads were bad, and I don't know about everybody, but I didn't really care about the debate about whether or not we should have toll. They were building them. It looked like Stonehenge, and no one really knew like where they went or how much they were going to cost. I was driving downtown Austin every day, and I was stuck in that traffic. I was like, okay, well, I think that if you went down Mopac, remember that? It was like terrible to just get to Wells Branch Parkway, and you'd see this stuff getting built, and you just wanted to know like where they were going. But so we had the Statesman felt like just really did the debate, and then the local papers really focused on schools, school sports, and that kind of thing. And I just felt like there was something missing, sort of like the Business Journal that we had back then. And you can see the ties are very close. I mean, what we do is we call it the Average Joe's Business Journal. And my aha moment was my wife, who, if you haven't met her yet, I call her the smartest woman in Central Texas because she literally proofs nearly every paper. So she knows everything that's going on. I mean, she's got a great eye for detail. But she was reading the Business Journal, and I remember there was a story in the Business Journal about Lamb's Candies. And Jennifer, growing up here in Austin, Lamb's is an Austin institution, and she just wanted to know the story about the business owner. Like, who were they? Like, where this is an interesting story. And we had moved back to Pflugerville, and that we're building a Walmart in Pflugerville, and there was a big controversy. The local business owners were concerned, and my aha moment was I was just convinced that the average Joe would want to know the story about these business owners. The reason why we go to Target, the reason why we go to Walmart, the reason why we go to Home Depot and Lowe's is because we know what to expect when we get in there. And the reason why I believe that a lot of people don't go shop mom and pops or restaurants that are local is because we don't really know what to expect, and we don't know if it's going to be a good experience. And so I just thought, you know what, we could create a newspaper that would not only tell people about this high-level stuff, but also would give the local business owner a chance to compete, because these guys are great. Like, there's stories there about it. And again, faith's a big thing for me. So like those of you that have known me for a while, it's really funny when I run into people from high school and they're like, "Man, you own Community Impact, like this is way over your head," and it's so it really is. And so I'm humbly in front of you, and I really want you to know that I really believe that God had a big role in that, in my ability to even do any of this and have the faith to do this. But I feel very fortunate that we were able to pull it off, and we literally started. This is our first office. This is there in I tell people it's 1408 Pier Court. I tell people that because I don't live there anymore. But we started the game room of our house, and for you city folks, you're going to appreciate this a little bit more. But I remember going to my first city council meeting in Pflugerville, and those of y'all remember Charles Simone, who used to be the EDC guy at the time. He was working with the city, and they were like really curious about this new paper that was starting, and he was like, "So where are you guys going to office?" I was like, "I'm going to buy a house," and I was like, "Wait a minute. I'm not really sure I should have told." I was worried about like the laws about having businesses in your house, and I'm sure they were thinking I was going to have a pretty press in the garage or something. But we started there, and it was real humble beginnings up in our game room. And the first paper came out, and immediately we had success. I mean, I remember the day after, the Saturday after, we didn't even have an answering machine, but we had caller ID. And I remember going up there, and there were all these calls. I don't know if they were saying, "Stop sitting it to me," or no. We had a good idea that they liked it. We had emails that were coming in saying, "Hey, good job on this." And we were very fortunate from the very beginning that people got it. They understood. And that was really our tagline. And our tagline's local, useful, everyone gets it. And our commitment is local. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today with Hutto, and making sure that we're focused on Hutto and we're focused on local. But the useful part won't go away. Like we believe that the daily newspaper and the community papers, they all play a good, important role in the community. Our content style is different, and we like being where we're at. We want to be useful content so that business owners can know what's going on. At the Business Journal, we had about 8,000 subscribers. 8,000. And when I was the ad director, part of our sales pitch was, the reason why you want to be in the Business Journal is because we write about things so that, for the insiders, the 8,000 developers, real estate folks, lawyers, the folks that really know what's going on, they subscribe to the Business Journal because they want to get the business deal. Where our deal is totally different, because we want to even the playing field. We want everybody to know what's happening in their own backyard, and we want it to be useful to them. The best story I could give, we've had plenty of these, but I've talked to local business owners who didn't know that a road was going by their building, or they needed to know where the entrance ramps and exit ramps roads were going to be. Well, because of our paper, we've been able to help them with that. And I'm always thinking about that guy who owns that piece of land that has no idea that there's a road going to be running through there. And so some guy, in a suit shows up, knocks on the door, offers them a lot of money, and they don't even realize that they just gave away the farm, so to speak. That's really what happens. And so we want to even that playing field as best as we can, and that's why we have really high-quality reporters, and you know a lot of them that we have still on staff. But the other part of that is everyone gets it. The local use for everyone gets it. It's a double entendre. I didn't even know what that meant until somebody told me what that meant. But a double entendre is, it's a double meaning. Everyone gets it. So everyone gets it in the mail, regardless of income. That's a big thing. And this economic pressure, we've had a lot of pressure, both just looking at expenses and revenue. Like everyone's like, well, why don't you just cut down your distribution? Just go to those who make over $100,000 or have a bachelor's degree, because you can do that now. We said no. Everyone gets it. We think everyone deserves to know what's going on in their own backyard, regardless of education or economic situation. And then obviously the other side of that, everyone gets it, is we want to write about these complex issues that we write about, and we want everyone to get it, like to understand it. Like, this is why Toll 130 coming through Hutto is going to be such a big deal for the future of your community. This is why the economic development, they got the big bucks to try to bring businesses here so that people will have jobs, and you'll have a vibrant local economy. We want everyone to get it as well, without editorializing. So that was where we started, and I told you faith is a big thing, and for me, David and Goliath is a big part of our story. You could imagine starting a game room for our house. We're up against billion-dollar corporations. Cox owns and Statesman. In Dallas, we've got Belo and McClatchy. In Houston, obviously, the Houston Chronicle's owned by Hearst. kind of a newspaper guy, a huge corporation. But we always had this kind of this mentality is we weren't scared of Goliath. We were going to, like David was, he was always prepared. He was going to go after Goliath because he knew what he could do with a stone. Like he wasn't scared of Goliath because he knew what he could do. And part of what we know that we can do is provide really quality content, and we send it to everybody. Everybody gets it, so we get a chance to help everyone win. And this has been our mentality. And I think it's kind of fits Austin and Hutto and everyone. This fits our culture well. This story of David and Goliath. But with that being said, you guys know well that there's a lot of talk about newspapers dying around the country. And that's my number one question. Like, how are y'all growing? What's going on? Why are y'all able to hire new people? And, well, we're different. We're a monthly. That makes a big difference. We don't have the daily expenses that the Statesman has. They have to print and distribute a paper on a Tuesday. Who wants to advertise on a Tuesday? But they've got to get it out there. It's very expensive to do what they do. We're a monthly, so that helps us a lot. But the thing that really drives me and has driven me is even during this economic hardships, which I believe we're about to come out of. I really do talk to local business owners. Is the jobs portion of that? In the back of the room, we got a former Detroit newspaper man who was there for 35 years. I think he'll appreciate this, but this is a website called Paper Cuts, and this actually tracks the number of jobs lost in newspaper business. This was actually a few months old, but at that time it was 3,590 jobs. What drives me is the ability to give quality journalists like Samantha here a job. And Samantha, if y'all don't know her, she's been out here for a while, and she'll still be out here. But that's what drives us, and we want to continue to grow the company and grab what we consider market share to try to add markets. But we really want to have the opportunity to hire people. And I mean, you guys are the business owners. You guys are the ones that are making this stuff happen. And all of us, I think, would agree that there's nothing better that we can do than give somebody a paycheck, and in terms of value that we can bring to a community or organization. This is our distribution map, and it used to look a little bit more like the old Soviet Union when we had Taylor out here because it was so big, and it was this big thing. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But now this is Round Rock, Hutto, Pflugerville. Georgetown's now a standalone paper. We've got Leander, Cedar Park. We got Northwest Austin, Westlake, Lake Travis area, Central, Southwest Austin, Buda, Kyle, San Marcos is one of our newer papers. We're up in Dallas now. Also started that in 2011, and we just started the Woodlands in Houston. We have 3 papers there around the state. But again, one of the reasons why we wanted to make the change that we did here is when we started, and Scott was there. We had a lot of people that actually said, don't do that. Don't include Taylor. But when you go out there, Taylor is awesome. It has a lot of great potential out there, and we met some of the city leaders, and we really felt like what we wanted to do was try to bring Taylor into the conversation, the Central Texas conversation. And a lot of the only things that were written about them weren't always positive about what the city leaders were trying to do to try to make that a great community. So we've been out there for 4 years, and we continue to hear how important it was for Hutto to be connected to Round Rock. And we also heard how it was important for Georgetown to kind of, as a county seat, to kind of stand alone. And so we made the change. In January was the first month that we actually sent all of Hutto residents and all of Round Rock and Pflugerville residents news about Hutto. And there's something I want you to know that you may or may not know. One of the things I love about what we get to do for the cities like Hutto is that we take Hutto news and we do regional reports in all of Central Texas markets. So there's times when we're talking about Hutto to people who live in Buda. Now, we don't do a lot of that because we want to stay local, but every month we do this. We do that idea. We have that idea of what is important up here so that we have this regional perspective. And what people don't know is that I am really humbled by and blown away by is how well we're received in every market that we go to. If people in Southwest Austin, we're in Central too. Central's probably the hardest market we've ever gone to because they're very, Central Austinites. Those guys. They're not only, they're just very they're just Austin. They don't trust you. You have to earn trust. You have to in our style of news, we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus. We're not trying to So there was just this. It took us a little time, but it's really picking up. And so we have this Hutto news going to these markets. I want you to know that we're doing a really good job. This is called the Media Audit. There's this Houston-based research firm. And what their data, this is the newest data that's available anywhere that's local, that measures local media. And what their data says now is that there are more people read community impact newspaper than read any section of the Statesman, Sunday or daily. More than anybody. I mean, KXAN News, KVU News, KI News. There's no other publication in Central Texas that gets more eyeballs, more readers than we do. And it's because of that commitment to quality, commitment to local news. And the reason I want you to know that is because we simply, when we send out news about Hutto, don't be surprised that you're talking to, if you have a relative down in Buda or something, if they may say, hey, I saw something about you, because they get the paper, they're reading it, and they're paying attention to it. That's a fun part about our job, and I think it really does help Hutto in the long run. But again, going back to the switch, this is our editorial philosophy, and I think this will help explain why we're doing what we're doing. It's called the triangle. Everybody on our staff knows what this is. I tell people that if you call our office and our secretary answers the phone, and you ask her, hey, what's a triangle? Don't test her because she's actually off today. So she's playing today. But anyways, this is a foundation of our company, and I learned this from a guy at the Business Journal in Dallas. And it starts here with the editorial. And guys, like, I want y'all to know that we are not a perfect news organization. We're going to mess up. I feel bad for that DPS office that misspelled that side. We're going to do stuff like that. We try not to. We really do work hard on focus. But we believe everything starts at the top with editorial, that we've got to have strong editorial content. And guys, we have a local team that's focused on this area. So you already know Samantha. You've known Karen and Matt Painter, both of which, by the way, really wanted us to make the switch a long time ago. But we got it done now. You know our people. You're going to get to know Blake, who's our market editor. You'll see him out. That'd be funny if that was him, but it's not. and then you already knew Karen and Matt, but now Stephanie DeHunt, who runs our Round Rock Physical paper. You'll get to know her as well. But we want to get to know y'all. We want to understand who y'all are, and we almost got to have to hit the reset button a little bit, because you got to understand, no one in Round Rock got some of the information about your community before, and you have this 79 connector point, that's really important. Pflugerville too. I mean, Star Ranch kind of connected Pflugerville and Round Rock. There's people that really don't know where they live. Some go to Hutto district schools, some go to Pflugerville schools. It's a very complicated thing. So we have to hit the reset button. So you might see some news that you've already seen before, but part of our reason is to connect the Round Rock and the Hutto residents with that information that does impact them and impacts their businesses. In fact, our restaurant review this month is the Cafe Texas, which is very exciting because Texas Cafe, I'm sorry, Huntsville Cafe, Texas Cafe. But anyways, so we're going to 80,000, 90,000 homes with that restaurant review, and so I hope a lot of people come out and eat here in Hutto. So it starts with editorial for us. We believe that if we get the content at the top, that we're going to have the readers. If you write relevant news that's good, that's informative, you'll get it. Now, obviously, because of our distribution model, everyone gets it. We have we have a kind of step ahead of some of the other newspapers that have to get subscribers, or you have to pick it up from your yard or whatever, but we send it to them in the mail, and we think that with the quality content they'll read it. And then this is where the breakdown has always happened. We feel like if we get the readers, then we're going to get the advertisers because they want to grow their businesses. But the breakdown in what happened with us at the Houston Chronicles, we didn't funnel that back up into our quality of our content. We made all that money, and we lost at the Houston Chronicle. We lost sight of what's really important, the content side. We didn't invest back in the content side. And I want to let you know, like, this is what drives us. And as we continue to grow our papers and try to grow our organization, we're going to continue to hire really good reporters, hire really good editors to make sure that we have the kind of quality content that you guys deserve, and quite frankly, that we want to have as part of who Community Impact Newspaper is. So that's my little talk this morning. I'm open for Q&As. And I'm really, again, thankful for the forum to be able to come and talk to you about the change. And I'm looking forward to 2012 being just a great year for us to partner with each other to let people know what's happening in this great community, and also let businesses have a chance to grow their businesses as well. So. Yeah.
John, do you have any stories about the new team in town called the Huggy Bears?
No, I haven't heard anything about the Huggy Bears.
Well, I understand you made quite an impact last night's game.
Yeah.
Well over half court.
That's right.
Shot, one-handed.
Yeah, no, it was one-handed on accident, probably. But I play on a basketball team called the Huggy Bears. I didn't name the team. and so like I made the dream shot. 2 seconds left, the ball goes in at half court. It was awesome. I actually almost last night I went to vandalize the YMCA so the police will look at the security tapes. So maybe the shot is on there. So I'm hoping that because nobody else had it. You know, you have all this technology, and no, I was like, is anybody filming this thing? There's really only about 10 old guys in that room anyway. So, but I asked Tripp was playing. I asked Tripp. I said, hey, did this shot really go in? And it did, and we won by 3, which was it just makes it all worthwhile. You know? Thank you for that. Tripp will tell you he understands why I was on the golf team.
Was he one of the old guys?
Yeah, Tripp was. We're getting old. Yeah, but I will say that Tripp helped me with my vision. So
That's true.
You know, I think it has a lot to do with making the shot. Any other questions or anything else I can help you with? All right. Well, thank y'all. I'll be around and look forward to get to know y'all better as well, and certainly I have office in Pflugerville, so if you need anything, yeah, sure.
I just want to thank you for the work y'all do in this area. Y'all do great work.
Thank you.
It really has helped Hutto and surrounding areas. Well,
I appreciate that. Thanks. We want to keep at it. And please, like, you know, as you would for your own business, if you see us slipping up or whatever, please call me. Like, you know, I'm very engaged in the quality of our work, and I want to be more. So if we're not doing something right, you know, we have great staff. You know, you can call them, but I mean, just like you would want to know, I want to know. So please let me know if there's anything I can do to.
I just say that I was down in San Marcos and I saw a copy of it, and they said, "We've never seen this before." I said, "Oh, we get it." And they were really proud people that I was talking.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I tell people this. I tell my staff this, especially why you're growing a newspaper. Well, I always say this: we live in the information age, but no one knows what's happening in their own backyard. You know, all this we have all this data out there, but we still don't really know what's that going to feel. That field going to be behind our yard and our house, and so it's a really neat niche for us to have found, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So thank you for that comment. Yes,
I want to throw out, we've tested a lot of ways to advertise the Texan Cafe, and you are the most effective thing we can do. People love your publication, they keep your publication, they look at it again and again, and for our response rate, coming to you, we've been in Georgetown and Rings to Sun City out here. If you haven't advertised in his publication, give it a shot. It's worth it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And you know, I want to say this too, that we have a great website. A lot of people don't even know it, but because the web is so crazy, you get so much. ImpactNews.com, we just redesigned it. It's a great site. Like, you can do a lot of research. You know, if you're looking to buy land or looking to move to other places, looking to grow your business. I mean, there's no one single place you can go to find out what's going on with Cedar Park real estate that's better than our site's this great, basically, database of information that the quality of content you get here, we do it everywhere. So ImpactNews.com is that website. It's free, as you would expect, you know. But thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Speaking of that,
Yes, sir.
I was getting a bunch of RSS feeds.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they quit.
Yeah.
And
New RSS feeds.
yeah, I'm assuming I can just log on.
Yeah. The new feeds are there. You're exactly right. The new sites, you know, and what's really unbelievable about technology is that what we were trying to do, we were always trying to be on the edge. Well, technology's moved so quickly now that there's companies that do a better job of basically building publisher sites than you can do yourself. And so we have this great site now that does a lot of the RSS stuff, and it's just better. It's a lot better. So you'll like the way it's organized too, I think, better. But yeah, you got to redo your RSS feeds.
Yeah, I've been lazy and haven't done it.
I'm impressed though. That's good. RSS. Who's got RSS feeds? I mean, that's great. That's RSS feeds basically are. When we hit a new story, it'll all show up. It's a way to kind of make sure that you get the news as quickly as possible. We also have a newsletter as well, an email newsletter that's awesome. I mean, it's really great. So if you don't, just go to impactnews.com. There's a really easy way to sign up for the Austin Metro. That's another way that we're sending Hutto news all over. And it's unbelievable. I look at Google Analytics a lot, and when we send that new email newsletter out, people are clicking on your stories. I mean, it's really neat how that works. But yes, sir.
Just on behalf of the school district, we want to thank you for Samantha. Last month, I believe we honored her with a CASB Media Award on
I didn't even know that. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. She's so modest, you know, and humble. But we, you know, we're really blessed to have her on
We
this
haven't got
festival.
the official word yet, but she's gonna get it.
Oh, really? Okay, nice. Do you already know that? Oh. Thank you very much for that. That's great.
She's also getting a raise this week.
All y'all are going to buy ads to help. All right, well, thank y'all very much.